Okay, we're live. Not to bother talking much until I have somebody to talk to. So I'll get the pop-up chat here and make that nice and big on screen. There we go. Chill. Making red. Making red rooster red. Oh, already got somebody. Audio sounds like you're underwater. That's odd. Otherwise, sound like I'm underwater. Let me check something real quick. Let me just check the settings. Ah, that's why. How about now? How does that sound? Does that sound better? I hope it sounds better. Welcome, Albino Thunderbuns, welcome to Star Productions, and welcome, Gus Tyler Bush. I'm just having a really chill rigging stream. Yeah, I switched it to my my actual microphone. It was coming through the webcam microphone. Nobody wants that. That sounds like garbage. So yeah, check it out. I'm working on an animation rig for our good old buddy, the Red Rooster, by Mitch Breitweiser. I'm excited about this comic. I know many other people probably are as well. Well, I know people are excited for it. So yeah, I'm trying to get back into doing some animation of my own. So what better place to start than making some animation rigs for some notable indie comics characters. And who is more notable than the famous or infamous Red Rooster? So I hope everybody's doing well. Thanks for joining me, guys. I didn't expect to get much of an audience for a rigging stream, but hey, every little bit counts. Maybe you'll learn something. Who knows? I wish I had 3 monitors though, because that would be really nice. Because if I had that, or you know what, one of these days. Oh, hey, Rebel Comics, nice to see you, Niobe. Drop by to say hi. Always good to see you. But yeah, like I was saying, I should get a 3rd monitor at some point and start setting up Streamlabs, because that way I could more easily switch between screens, or even have like 2 up at a time. I could have the main area here, and I could have the node view. This is the node view right here. I use that a lot, but you're not going to see it because it's on the other screen. Albino Thunderbuns, love your animation work. Jeremy, your stuff cracks me up. I am not Jeremy. I am Josh. Josh, the amazing animator, the other half of MANimations Inc. I was the one that did the Lion-O animation. If you've seen Enthusiastic Endorsement, I highly recommend you check it out. I really like it. Worked really hard on it, so I'd love it if you see it. Hello, Neostar Productions. I see you. I see you. How are you doing? Hope all is well. But yeah, this is what I've been working on the last little while. Just on the side here. And I think this is going to turn out pretty darn cool when all is said and done. This is, of course, Jeremy's design. He kind of is the one that's doing sort of the official styles and designs for MANimations. You know, when it's not, you know, me trying to emulate a style that's already been established. Like, you know, I had, thanks, man. Thanks, Albino. And Derokos Galvin. Yeah, go Josh. Looking good. Thank you. Yeah, so there's the enthusiastic endorsement, which is basically the Thundercats soy, or Thundercats roar. Roar, that was it. Thundercats roar. So I was just trying to emulate that as closely as I could. I got plans for doing other ones like that as well. Eventually. Let's see here. I want some color into the thigh. Uh-oh. Why's that not going? Oh, that's why. Because I put a line on the wrong layer. Very important to put things on the right layer. And if you're wondering what I mean by layer, that's these right here. You've got 4 different layers in Toon Boom, and that's the program that I use primarily for all my animation and rigging work. So that's these 3 here. There's an O for overlay, L for line, C for color, and U for underlay. So that's important to keep in mind if you're doing this kind of stuff, because it's important to keep everything on the right layers. So what I got here is I'm setting up the shorts, just the short line. So that'll kind of come in and out. Reminds me of Flash. I used to miss it back in the day. I like the Flash. I always liked the Flash. You know, I had this this one Flash comic when I was growing up that I really, really loved. I thought you can see why I would kind of make that mistake, mistaking your word of reminding you of the Flash for the character and not the program. Yeah, Toon Boom is kind of like Flash on steroids. It's a lot more expensive, I'll tell you that right now. But in my opinion, it is well worth the money because it is a far more versatile program. So you can see that what I did there is I have this layer called a cutter, and you can see it has this little mask area here. So you plug the node for the shorts in to the cutter, and then you take the color of the white for the thigh, and then you take that and then you plug it into the mask. So what that says is that, oh, okay, well, we're going to cut away everything that is outside of that color layer. And you can also take that, oops, what happened? Yeah, you can also take that and you can invert it, and then it will do the opposite. So it's very versatile, very versatile. You can use that for a lot. I use that a lot in my rigs right now as I am building this. So as you can see so far, I've gotten the head mostly done. So I can move that around. Got, you know, eyelids, eyes. I can move all this stuff around. I don't have any deformers on anything, but eventually I will, and the deformers will allow me to really make this rig come alive. I got this cape here, stuff on the front, right, and then I got a bit of the cape on the back, just kind of like this area that I can bunch up, have lots of folds and whatnot. There's some issues with this, as you can see here. There's this little cut in here, and when you're building a rig, eventually you're going to have to do some troubleshooting on various things to make sure it all works. But so far, I've had very few issues that I've had to deal with. This is the only major one here that I'm going to have to fix and potentially get some help with. Oops. Head's got to come forward. There we go. So yeah, so now we got that. Let's see here. I think that's all I have that I need for that. So I got the hips here. You can see how the hips do not quite look that great. Yeah, the node view is really handy. It's a lot easier to get a handle on what's going where with the node view. It looks like pure chaos when you're looking at it like this, just all the lines going everywhere. But once you zoom in and you've got the various sections, it really makes sense once you get used to it. I used to be terrified of the node view when I first started working with Toon Boom, but because I'm so used to layers, because I started with Photoshop, and then I was using After Effects, and then I was using Flash, and that's what I knew, was working with layers. So having nodes was just terrifying to me. I couldn't make heads or tails of it. But once you get started, once you get used to it, trying to go back to a layer system is pure torture. It does make things easier. It's a lot less mess, and Toon Boom has a lot of different options for organizing things. Like, I'll show you one that I don't really use very often, or at the very least, I don't really use it until the very end of my rig, once I have everything kind of organized properly where I want it to go, and then I'll take one of these things. You go to Insert and Backdrop, and you've got these little boxes that you can put around things. And it's really good for selection as well, because you can just grab it, this whole section, and move it with one click. So you don't have to go in, select the whole, make the whole thing, make sure you have everything. You can just have that. You could, sorry about that. I keep misclicking on things. You could change the color. I'll just go into the node view so you can see both of them at the same time. So I could go in here, I could change the color. So I could color code everything if I wanted to. I could name it to leg. I don't even know if that is the leg. And then so like when you're farther away in the timeline, in the node view, you can see things a little easier. You can be like, oh shit, there's a leg, or it's either color coded, or you got that. It's really, really handy. I'm still not super used to it. I've got a long ways to go before I am an expert rigger. My primary designation in my job, in my career, is character animator. So give me a finished rig, and I can animate it like the Dickens. But building rigs is still, in Toon Boom in particular, is still relatively new for me. So I am kind of learning as well. But luckily, I've got friends who are that work with that, and have been really helpful and happy to help me out with figuring this stuff. So it's been really nice. But yeah, I want to really build up and get like a nice library of indie comics characters. I think that'd be so cool to just have all these available to work on, and we can make shorts, we can make all kinds of stuff. I mean, the possibilities are limitless. Blender has a node view, terrifying, but I know it's a blessing. Gotta learn it. You do. You gotta learn it. Derokos. Derokos? I'm thinking Derokos. Derokos. All right. Yeah, you gotta learn those nodes, man. They're so good. Neostar, I use Photoshop for my digital coloring and inking. I can't imagine not using layers. It's crazy. I used to be there at one point as well, but now I'm just like, oh man, I wish Photoshop had nodes. But I've been using, for my actual drawing art, I've been using more and more Procreate on the iPad. I really, really love the iPad. It's been really nice. So now this is something I'm got to figure out. We're gonna see. Let's see. So I'm disconnecting the leg, and I'm connecting it behind the hips, but like immediately behind it, right? And then I'm grabbing a node, called an auto patch. Here. Ah! Oh, I think that's one of the worst features of Windows 10 is the thing where if you shake it, everything disappears except for the window that you're holding. Because like if it's even just like a little slip up, just everything disappears. Would love to see an animation of Doroko's from Wisdom Comes. So that's where that name's from. That'd be interesting. Maybe down the road, we could I could build one of him. I got quite a list of characters I want to rig first. I want to do Jack Irons because what was it? Nashitobi did this really great design, and I asked him if I could turn that into an animation rig, and he said it was okay. And I just think it would look so cool. It would look so cool, especially in motion. Such a cool design. If you knew anything about rigging, I'd happily lend my characters for you to use. Well, that's the thing is if I'm going to use them, I know how to rig, or at least mostly. All right, moment of truth. Does this work? No, it does not. Let's see here. See, I need them to blend together essentially. Okay, something like that. But now I gotta make sure that it doesn't blend. Okay, good. There we go. That's what I want. Haha! Success. I needed both of the legs to blend into the hips, but I didn't want them to blend into each other. See what I mean? I need to have that separation of line. Yeah. So there we go. That works. The one thing is that when you actually do the whole leg like this, it's really irritating because actually, you know what? I should do that and that. Okay, yeah, because when you do the whole leg, you see that the line is a different width than the other one. Yeah, Jack Irons would be great. I could think of so many cool things I could do with Jack Irons. Get some post-apocalyptic wasteland scenes, some action stuff. Maybe all while juggling a bottle of hooch. That'd be fun. There's Ironverse Comics. Of course someone said Jack. We spoke his name, and he appeared, like the demon that he is. The Indie Comics demon, Jack Irons. Howdy, Cody. Good to see you, man. I'm just having a chill stream. Nothing intense, no drama of any kind, just working on some rigging, making some Red Rooster. Because we all love Red Rooster. Am I right? I think I'm right. I know I'm right. We all love Red Rooster. Red Rooster loves us. Let's see. Now this can be tricky because sometimes when you connect the lines, they're really stubborn. They don't want to be the width that you want them to be. You gotta do all these adjustments. I don't like it because what it should be is it should just be the width that you set it. But oh shoot! Oh no! You break. Ah. All right. Let's try that. It's not perfect. I think that's as close as I'm going to get. Could have been a lot worse. See, because if you'll notice, when I went onto the pencil editor, there's 3 lines, right? So you've got the center line, and that's where the color layer ends. and then you've got sort of a bleed on either end, on either side. So what happens is when you do the thing where you have the auto patch and it connects the leg to the thigh and deletes that line in the center, it'll actually delete the bleed over on the inside for some reason if you're using multiple nodes connected to a composite. So it's really irritating because then you have to go in and edit the line thickness so that it goes beyond that. At least that's how I'm doing it. I don't know if there's a way around it. Hopefully I'll find out soon, because if there's an easier way to do that, I would much, much prefer it. Now, the other thing you'll notice is that you see how the line for the shorts has disappeared as well. Not sure why that is, but I do know a way around it. So essentially what I do is I grab that line, a line node. Here. I'll open it up in here. So what I'll do is I'll grab one of these line nodes, and that's what this is. Basically, it separates the line on the line art layer on this layer, which is the short line layer, and now I can plug this in front. See? Oh, I gotta put it further in front. Okay, I think I gotta put it in front here. Probably right in, yeah, I had to put it in front of the hips. But then you can see that because I put that in front of the cutter that was initially cutting it off, the line shows up beyond where it should. So now I gotta grab another cutter, throw that in there, and then cut it off by the color layer again. And then finally we have proper short line layer that will cut off inside of the thigh. Okay, let me just catch up on the on the comments here. I have come, Jack. Hi, folks. Right on. My favorite kind. Chill streams. That's what you're referring to, right? Hi, Jack. Good to see you. RRR. Red Rooster rules. Red Rooster was the first campaign I backed at a triple-digit tier. Can't wait for it. You artists and your techniques and skills. Yes, yes. Those skills are hard-earned. We have fought many battles to acquire them, my friend. But it is worth the struggle. Look how beautiful that is. Look at that. I already have the cape. What else do I got? There's the, oh, that's stuff I haven't touched yet. Cape is right over here. So one of the things that I did differently was from Jeremy's design is I actually darkened the interior of the cape. Because I really like how that looks. Kind of got the idea from Blade. Because in the, I think it was either the second or the third movie, he had red on the inside of his trench coat. I'm a big Blade fan, which is why what they're doing with the new one is stupid and I hate it, and it makes me upset. But yeah, I got that idea, and I wanted it darker so that it would kind of like really make the rest of him kind of stand out and pop. So I like that contrast. I thought that was good fun. Good fun. So yeah, who knows what animated hijinks our good friend the Red Rooster will be getting up to once I'm done with this. We shall see. It is a mystery for now, but you know, I want to use a little bit of all of these indie comics characters. I mean, I love these characters. I love the just pure creativity that people are exercising with this indie comics boom, and I really want to start helping to build that towards a new wave of animation boom. Because let's face it, the social justice stuff, the soy, it's pretty heavily entrenched in the animation field. So you know, it's up to us. It's up to me and Jeremy to bring some manliness back into animation. That's why we called it MANimations. Yeah. Albino, you say you do the same thing with cape and long coat designs. I think the two-tone really just really helps to make things stand out. Let's see, what do I got to do next? Next is the shin. Sorry, I like making the sound effects and stuff. That's just me in my mouth. So you can see I got these little circles here. They're essentially the little dots in the middle are where I want the pivot point to be. So I'll build the leg around that. I'll kind of trace that. And then that will go into the thigh, similar to how the thigh went into the hips with the auto patch. But first off, I got to get rid of this one because I don't need that. And I got to get these ones onto the proper layer because I screwed that up. That's a noble pursuit, Josh. I wish you guys all the best in your efforts to man up the animation world. Well, we're going to be working pretty hard to do that. It's pretty tough right now because I am doing the Science Wizard comic stuff, the Wanpool campaign, and I'm doing some writing and editing for. I'm doing editing for Pineapple Pizza Man for Theron Kurth, and I'm doing the fulfillment and the. What do you call it? I guess proofs for Wanpool. But it's worth it. It's a lot of work. It's I'm probably stretching myself a little too thin on this stuff. But you know, I think it's all going to make a difference. That's what I want to do. I want to make a difference. I want to make people happy. Isn't that what we all want? Just want to be happy, right? I want to make people happy with my, my cartoons, my animation, my comics. I've always been an entertainer, and entertainment is supposed to make people happy. And if we're not doing that, then we're shit entertainers. Excuse my language. It is a good look for capes and coats. I've always been a fan of it, ever since the Blade stuff. Man, how good was Blade? Seriously. I still think Blade is the best comic book movie to this day. Don't at me, bro. Every time I watch it, I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy every time I watch that movie. Because it's just so badass. He's such a cool character. He just oozes coolness. Wesley Snipes? Come on, man. I mean, a lot of my favorite characters when I was a kid growing up were played by Wesley Snipes. Demolition Man. Who is? No, I'm thinking of Demolition Man again. I just loved Simon. He was such a character. He just loved to be bad. He was like pure chaos. And I dig that. Now, I'm not pure chaos. I'm a sweetheart. I'm a good boy. Because I always tell my girlfriend that. It's kind of like one of my catchphrases within our relationship. I say, I'm a good boy. But I say it like you would say it to a dog. Probably a little self-deprecating, but self-deprecating humor is good for you. It's good for you on occasion. Keeps you humble. I really believe that. So now what I'm doing, now that I've got those connected, and that was a major point that I had to be careful of, because there's these two sections. You want to make sure they connect. So you want to make sure there's some overlap on the line. And the reason why is because now what I'm doing is I'm going to select the whole thing, and I'm hitting this, merge pencil lines. So what that does essentially is it makes it so this is all connected. So instead of treating them as separate objects, it treats them all as one object, even though they are still technically separate. So now I can go in and I can just automatically cut these lines without affecting the whole circle. It'll just affect the circle until it hits that connection where the center lines overlapped. Oh man, Neostar. It has been a while since Pineapple Pizza Man. Theron's been working really hard on the script. I must commend him for that. He's been doing a great job. I'm going to read that once I'm done with this stream here. My goal is to finish the leg and the arm, and then once that's done, then I can get on to the troubleshooting phase, which is the worst phase of rigging. It's the troubleshooting and deformer stage, and that's the worst part, if you ask me. So with this leg, with the shin rather, I have to do the same thing. Oops, I have to do the same thing as the other one, because this one also has to have a similar effect with the boot line. So exact same thing, exact same setup, all of that is exactly the same. So I'm just going to copy and paste all of those elements that I used for the other one so that I have them at the ready. And I'm going to create a new drawing. I'm going to call that the back shin boot line. Add that to close. And then I gotta create, here, I'll put it on this one so you can see. So now that I've got that in there, I've got to create a peg for it. Now, you might be wondering why there's what these pegs are. Why do we need those? Now, what those are is essentially, this is the drawing. The blue one is the drawing, and then the green one is the peg. The drawing is just the drawing. You know, that's all it is. But the peg is where you put all of your animation information. So when you actually start to animate this, you know, you're moving it somewhere, you're getting your keyframes and all that. That's where all of that information gets put. And then, you know, that way, like, you keep them separate, and it's also color coded. So if you go into the selection mode, you'll see that it turns kind of yellowish when you're on the peg, but it's purple when you're on the drawing. And you don't want to put your animation information on the drawing. You want to keep it all on one layer, which is the peg. So it's really important to do that. Now, I have a lot of different pegs, but you can see how it connects in a hierarchy. If I go to the head, same thing. And you'll see there's pegs, there's pivot points all over the place. So that's where you would rotate things. And eventually I'm going to have all these views. There's going to be a full rotation. They'll kind of blend into each other in various ways. It's going to look really cool. It's going to look really cool. I hope. Let's see. What do we got? Yeah, I actually deleted all of the old streams for the comic book stuff because I'm going to be moving any comic-related stuff to our Science Wizard Comics channel. Hopefully, I'm going to try to do one stream a week on MANimations. Usually, for now, I think I'm just going to be focusing on doing chill streams, doing work, doing rigging, doing animation, and on Science Wizard, that's going to be announcements for stuff. We'll put updates for Indiegogos that we do. We'll host contests and whatnot there, art contests, and do all more of that kind of just fun live streaming stuff there. For here, I wanted to kind of keep it all about animation and keep the comic stuff separate for now. Even though there is some overlap with the subject matter, of course. We're doing some Red Rooster here. We're going to get some Jack Irons here eventually. it's all connected. I mean, MANimations Inc. We've got Science Wizard Comics. So those are all really two sides of the same coin. They're both mine. They're both my companies. And I want to do I want to have like a full multimedia company. I don't want to just do animation. I don't want to just do cartoons. I don't want to just do comic books. I really want to have them all because I think they all interconnect in really meaningful ways. Eventually, I'd like to start doing video games as well. And I was thinking, I have a tentative name for that. I was thinking Nostalgia Bait Games. just go for it. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I want to do is like the classic sort of side scrollers and whatnot. There's a big resurgence of that stuff. They were always like they were always like such a fun genre of video games. And they just kind of disappeared, you know? It really just kind of disappeared. Like as soon as all the 2D stuff started coming around, or the 3D stuff, sorry, they just kind of stopped making them. And that is a crime, if you ask me. And I mean, I know they haven't actually stopped making them. Like there are still plenty around, but they are not nearly as abundant as they once were. And not only that, but like a lot less of them have multiplayer as well. And I always loved multiplayer. You know, it's a shame they don't do that nearly as much anymore. I loved like the side-scrolling beat 'em ups like Streets of Rage. I mean, come on. There are so many cool things you could do with side-scrollers, platformers, beat 'em ups, puzzles. The possibilities are endless. But they just everybody wanted to chase the new hotness, the new hipness, the 3D revolution. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I love 3D games, but I miss having some selection for. I gotta delete that. I miss having the selection that we used to have for platformers and side scrollers and stuff. Let me just go back to the chat for a minute. Okay, I'm a writer and editor as well. I'm currently editing Flying Fortress for Eric Weathers. If you find yourself overwhelmed one day and want some editing assistance, feel free to DM me at RightSideUp. I'm going to hit up your Twitter right now and make sure I'm following you. Right_side. There you go. Oh, wait, I think I am already following you. I'm not. Oh, jeez. I thought I was. I recognize the rooster. I could have sworn I was following you. That must be a mistake. If it is on me, then I apologize. Because I know you. I know you. I've got the same passion for trying to improve entertainment and help others do the same. Yeah, I'm an open book. If I've got knowledge that other people want, I'm happy to give it. happy to give it. Because that's how we make a difference. Don't need this line. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now that's how it's supposed to be. But yeah, like it's very strange. It's a very funny, not like a haha funny, but like bizarre funny. Like, why is this a thing funny? But when I was in animation, not a lot of people had that mindset of sharing knowledge. They didn't want to do it. A lot of people, like, if they know something, they're just like the covetous, I don't know, troll or goblin or something like that, rubbing their hands like, nobody will ever get this. This is all mine. And yeah, people don't like to share their information with others and help others learn. And I think a lot of people in animation really didn't like me because, like, I did. I was not very popular in school, I have to admit. I know. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't popular. But I think a lot of that did have to do with me sharing my knowledge. I was always happy to help other people. Art of War is another good Wesley Snipes movie. Oh, you know, I haven't seen that one. I gotta check it out. I gotta do like a Wesley Snipes-a-thon at some point. Blade was the last movie shown in our local big screen movie theater before it was torn down. Ooh, that's sad. But also, what a way to go. I still think it's the best superhero movie ever made. And Rob Liefeld, I will fight you if you come at me again saying that that it is not a superhero movie. Goddamn right, Blade's a superhero movie. He was the Foist. And hey, Matthew Rise is here. Nostalgia Bait is a good name for a retro-style game company, right? That's what I thought. Lots of Gen Xers like me who grew up on side-scrollers and have disposable income. Absolutely. Plus, like, they'll all be connected with the comic stuff. So, you know, when we do a video game crowdfunder, like, we could really, you know, have some fun physical stuff as well. It's like, oh, if you back at this tier, you can get, like, the graphic novel for the first volume of Pineapple Pizza Man. You know, something like that. If you want to talk games, I'd be happy to pitch a few. Well, if we do end up doing games, we're going to be doing it all on our own IPs. All like Science Wizard Comics stuff, like Pineapple Pizza Man, Last Call, Help Becky Smash. Although I don't know what we would do for a Help Becky Smash one. Maybe some sort of combo dating sim side scroller. I don't know. That's a hard one. It's a hard one. Maybe and even Juanpool. No, that would be amazing. Howdy, Matt. Hi, Humble Marty. Hey, good to see you. Busy hawking some sweet Ironverse comics. Latest being Cactus Coyote. Oh yeah, that is true. He is doing Cactus Coyote, and don't forget to check that out, guys. It's cool stuff. I really like the artist he got for that. I'm loving the style. Albino, when I was in the corporate business world, I had the same experience with people hoarding information. I gave information freely, and colleagues thought I was weird. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like they have this kind of mistrust of you because you're not acting the same way that they are. I really think that's what it is. I don't get it. I think it's pure craziness, and you know, I think just life is better when you share. It seems like such a simple thing, but so few people actually realize that. Otome game. Okay, Humble Marty, you're going to have to help me out with that. What is an Otome game? I need to know what that is, because I'm not really smelling what you're selling, because I don't understand the reference. I'm not into that weeb shit. I'm lying. I'm totally into that weeb shit, but that is one that is just flown over my head, at least for now. Man, who doesn't love that weeb shit, right? Maybe that's what I'll do. If we ever start doing anime, I'll start doing a live stream where I started off with, I started this weeb shit. That's some motherfucking pets I get. No, that's cheesy. That's corny. I hope nobody gets mad at me for making that joke. God, people are so sensitive these days. You know what I mean? Oh, look at that. Let me see here. Now that I've got that, let's just connect it, and there we go. For some reason, this one, I did not need to adjust the line. Oh, actually, I do need to adjust the line, just not in the way I initially thought. I made it too thick. I made it a 6 when it should be a 4. All right, an Otome game is a romance game where the main character dates different suitors. Oh, yeah. So, like, that's what I was talking about, a dating sim. I didn't know there was another name for it. But yeah, like, but you know what would be neat is if it was sort of like a dating sim / side scroller, you know, or maybe even a beat 'em up. And you have to, like, literally fight your way, you know, to find these guys. And then it won't be so much trying to seduce them, but more like trying to interrogate them, because Becky is hideously ugly. Or maybe you can, like, tag team, with Betty, switch out for Betty, like get in the bait before you switch. or sometimes you have to do it the other way around. I don't know. There might be an interesting combination of strategy for that. Neostar Productions. In that case, I'll have to pitch a comic for Science Wizard. Are you looking for anything in particular at the moment? Not right now. Eventually, I think we will take submissions. But right now, we've got a slate of comics that we're working towards getting out. And once we have these, I think there's 4 or 5 initial, comics that we want to get out. We've got, of course, we've got Wampool. We want to finish that off. We've got Help Becky Smashed and Last Call. Those are connected, but they do branch out off of each other after that first volume. And then we've got Pineapple Pizza Man, of course, with Darren Kurt. That's the one I'm going to be drawing. And then after that, we've got another one called Gate Crashers, which after all of this, the meltdown that happened with Comicsgate, is there even a Comicsgate anymore? Is that still around after all that? I don't even know. But yeah, the Gate Crashers was kind of my love letter to Comicsgate. So I'm not sure how that's going to work now. Now that that's pretty much defunct. But we'll figure that out. Let's see. I need to move that out of the way. Copy that. Action. There we go. See, I forgot to set my pivot point. And this is what I was telling you guys. You've got to set your pivot point first before you get rid of these guides. And that's why I made these little dots in the middle. These are my guides for for where I want to place my pivot point, so that it rotates from the proper area. Now this isn't connected. Why is this not connected? Oh, that's why. Yeah, it is connected. But yeah, after we kind of finish those first runs, we might talk about bringing in additional artists and whatnot. Actually, we do have a few other ones that we want to do. There's a one-shot that we were going to do with Jameson Cal, and that one was called Death Hamster Zero, and that's going to be sort of like connected to Gate Crashers. But it's going to be just a one shot for a character that's going to appear in Gate Crashers eventually, based off of some banter that he and I had online there on Twitter. That's the beautiful thing about what once was Comicsgate, is that a lot of people can get in touch with people they might not otherwise be able to get in touch with, like creators, and you never know what kind of crazy idea is going to come about based on your interactions. That's the kind of stuff that makes me real happy. Just makes me happy. You could just banter with somebody, come up with this fun idea, and then because you're surrounded by all these amazingly talented people, you could make it happen. Bang bang boom. And when we have that. And then we have, on top of that, all the the animation stuff and video game stuff. Like there's so many more people out there that we could be getting in touch with and building creative teams with in various different fields. It's the Wild West right now. It really truly is the Wild West. Sounds like I got to run. Father of the Year responsibilities and all that. Have a good one, everyone. Albino, Thunderbuns, thank you for coming. Have a good day. Sounds like Pokemon meets Capcom. Pokemon meets Capcom. What's that in response right, Matthew Rise, take care. No, we're not talking dating sims anymore. I was just talking about like just the general creative atmosphere that is available to us in this modern Wild West age of indie comics and indie video games and indie cartoons. Eventually, that's what I'm working on. I'm gonna get some indie cartoons. It's gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna be really, like, you can tell this is not a simple rig. I'm really trying to make this thing high quality, and I might end up going through a few versions of this. Honestly, what happened? Where did it go? Okay. That's the boot. Action. Can't be on here too long. I might only have time to finish the leg before I have to bounce and get working on the Pineapple Pizza Man script stuff. Responsibilities. That's what it is. Responsibilities. Let's see now. The back foot. I've got that. I can delete these two. And this one just comes down to there. But yeah, I think Outback Smash should be a dating sim. That would be fantastic. Gotta get my line. Keep it on 6. And back. Now, what I like to do, a lot of people probably think like, oh, there's a lot of drawing involved. No, not so much. Because I like to just take the line tool, because this is all vector-based anyway, right? I take the line tool and I just kind of take it to each point where it needs to be and just kind of manipulate them until I've got the right curves that I need. Make sure everything connects. And then I just add a point, drag it out, keep going. Ba-bing, ba-bang, ba-boom. I mean, I have such a great base to work with. I like, how could you not love Jeremy's designs? So good. So good. I mean, I could not have asked for a better partner. And he's such a go-getter, too. He's doing some fun, smaller kind of animations, like in a different program. So it's cool because like I'm kind of building up the more deluxe kind of content, not the content, but like the deluxe sort of, what do I call it? Infrastructure, like rigs and whatnot. And he's doing like these more simple rigs. And yeah, like eventually we're gonna have a really big library of stuff. And eventually we'll also have a Patreon. Once we have a decent enough sized library that like we can actually give some kind of rewards, I want to do a Patreon or a Subscribe Star rather. And that's where it's at now, since Patreon decided to drop the ball on supporting their creators. Let's see. All right. Oh, you know what I did not do? Oh, wait, I did do that. No, it just slipped my mind. Yeah, Neostar, I think you're right. I think even if Comicsgate has, kind of died, and it's entirely a possibility with how angry everybody's gotten. People have gotten so angry. It is entirely possible that it is truly dead right now. But the spirit of it lives on in all of us creators who really just want to see, our dreams come to life. And I think that's all we can do. We can just keep fighting, keep pushing, keep creating, and make like Galaxy Quest. Never give up, never surrender. As much as that show, or as much as that movie was a parody, that slogan, that line that they use in that, it really struck a chord with me. I'll say that a lot. I really do. I use the never give up, never surrender line a lot because it speaks to me. I think it is genuinely something, not a saying or slogan or whatever you want to call it, that holds a lot of weight. It gives you power to keep going when things get tough. And things do get tough. Things really, really do get tough. I've certainly had some tough times myself, even recently. I got laid off for 3 months. That was rough. That was really rough. Yeah, like especially when you've never had that before, when that's never been something you've had to deal with. And especially when you have additional responsibilities on top of what you normally would because of the campaign, with Wampool. And it wasn't just like physical stuff that I had to do to keep that moving. Like there was financial responsibilities, and I don't shirk those. I do not shirk my financial responsibilities. I made promises to people, and I was determined to make them happen. That's always how I've done things. I think people appreciate that. People appreciate somebody who sticks by their word. With all the anger that's around honesty, integrity. Those are things that people respond to, I think, most. I get so much more positive engagement. I think because I don't engage in the drama, the daily and seemingly endless drama that appears on Twitter. Because I know it's a trap. It's absolutely a trap. The drama trap. And it is very real. It's very, very real. It's so easy to lose sight of what's important when you get caught up in drama. Just don't. Oh, you gotta bounce, Neostar? All right, well, thanks for coming out. I know this is just a chill stream, just chatting and working on a Red Rooster rig. But I always appreciate anybody coming out to say hi. So take care. Be your best self. Never give up. Never surrender. Remember that. May have been a parody, but it was a smart parody. He knew what it was doing. God, I love that movie. It's so sad that that one guy died. Mathazar. Not Mathazar. Shoot, I'm forgetting the character's name. That's bad of me. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. Nope, that one should be too. Upper leg. And then we want the leg master. We want to have all of the pivots that are in the same place. You really want to get them stuck in there so that when you're going from that to that to that to that, you're not having the pivot fly all over the place. It's really important. Because that's the thing, like you can't change these pivots. Once they're done, they're done. Once they're in there, they're done. you cannot move them after the fact. Because if you animate this, and then you change the pivots, that is going to change everything. You'll if you change the pivots in the middle of an animation, it does some crazy things. Like the pivot points, like the actual like elements that you're changing the pivots on, they just start flying all over the place because now the pivot point is kind of all over there, and it just, instead of just saying, oh, the pivot point's over here now, you've reset it. Okay. What it does is it takes that and kind of shifts everything. So then it starts flipping out. I've done that before. Yeah, we all make mistakes at times, even when we know what we're doing. You're just not thinking about it. You're just like, oh, I'll just move the pivot. Pivot's too far away. I'll just move it. And then you go to play back your animation, and it's just flipping the flip out, just going bonkers. I wonder if I should do that here on this stream, or if I should do it on the Science Wizard comic stream. If I do some like drawing streams and art contest streams and stuff like that. Look at that. We've got legs. Hey. Can be the can. And you can see there's like a whole bunch of issues. You know, you don't want that. You want everything to layer nicely. But there's things you can do. You can bring things forward in space. Now the other thing we're going to want to do, eventually, I'm going to want to have to implement something where I can put creases in the knees, or in the where it connects, folds. So that's something I will have to do for later. For now, I'm just going to go into my node view, make sure everything's turned on. I like to make sure everything's turned on. Everything that's finished. Before I save it and log off. So all I've got left is the right arm, or the left arm, if you're just talking screen left. And then I can start doing deformers and editing the rig. And then after I finish the 3/4 view, I have to move on to the front view. Now that's going to be where things get really interesting, because that'll be really like the proper test of whether or not this rig is working as it should. Because then you'll kind of like be tweening between those two, and it has to line up. It has to, rotate and move properly into each of the different views of the character, so that eventually, because it's going to be using deformers, and it's also going to be I don't know how to explain this properly. I'll figure it out, but we'll talk more about that when we get there. But this has been episode 1 of MANimations rigging, and eventually I will switch out and do some other rigs. But for now, the focus for the next several episodes is going to be on rigging Red Rooster. I think the next time I'm going to do one is going to be Sunday. So if you want to see what I'm doing next Sunday, I will probably have much more done by the time I get to Sunday, so I'll be on to a different stage. But come back, check it out, learn a little bit of Toon Boom with me, and stay awesome. Be your best self. Never give up, never surrender. And thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate y'all.